What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're talking about how to find the girl. How do you find the girl that you've been trying to find? And we're going to talk about how there's a specific way that Christian guys are doing it today that is actually anti-Bible. It's not biblical. And there is a formula and a pattern that is explained in the Bible that hopefully you guys will take and put into use today. But before we get into that, make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. We have a lot more videos coming out like this, talking about relationships, talking about dating, just overall how to be a man of God. So you're going to want to be subscribed. Drop a comment too. Let me know where you're watching from, what you got out of this video, and a like would also go a long way as well. Thank you, guys. Let's get into this. So the first thing we have to talk about is that the modern system of dating is not in the Bible. So the number one thing that you need to figure out is, are you even ready to be married? And if you're not ready to be married, you have no business dating or being in a relationship with anybody. You see, this is how guys end up just getting their heart broken. This is how guys end up becoming jaded toward women, is they're not ready to marry. They haven't thought it all the way through. They don't have their life set up for marriage yet, but still they're going to go out and they're going to date and get in relationships with women. And it leads them to relationships that are very surface level, that they're doing it just for the social aspect of it, or maybe for the benefits that they shouldn't be taking part in as a Christian man, but maybe they are. And so if you start with that idea of, am I even ready to be married? And until that answer is yes, don't even start. Now, the next thing we've got to get cleared up is the way that people meet each other nowadays. Most young people are meeting their partner, their girlfriend, boyfriend on a social media app of some kind or some kind of dating app. I want to encourage you guys as men of God, don't try and make the crappy, lame system that the world has given you of dating apps and social media. Don't try and make that work. Don't try and retrofit that system that the world has given you into God's design. Just break away from it. There is absolutely zero reason why any of you guys need to be on a dating app at all. Because I love you and because it's going to actually produce worse results for you. Here's why. Dating apps are optimized for looks first, and character is almost impossible to find. You can't assess character. Even if you did go on a date with them, they're going to be on their very best behavior for you. They might lie. There's so many things that can go wrong. There's no good way for you to assess their character through a dating app. And this is why, guys, we've got to look back to the Bible, because it teaches us a completely different formula. Check this out. In the story of Isaac, when he finds his wife Rebekah, here's how it goes down. Abraham, Isaac's father, wants to find a wife for his son. So Abraham calls his most trusted servant and says, hey, I want you to go find a wife for my son Isaac. But I don't want you to find that wife from the girls around here. Because Abraham knew the girls around here. They're not what I want for my son. Why? Because they weren't beautiful? No. But because they didn't follow the Lord. He knew that their character was not what he wanted for his son Isaac. So he said to the servant, I want you to go back to my hometown, because I know that the women there love the Lord. So go back to my hometown, back to my family, back to where I came from, and select a wife there. Because Abraham knew the number one thing I want for my son is a woman of character, a Proverbs 31 woman. He sent his servant back to the place where those women were. Lesson number one, you guys need to be going to places where the women with your values are. Now, you can decide where those places are, but I think kind of the obvious answer is that you're far more likely to find women with your values in church or in a small group or on the mission field or at Bible college, or you know what I'm saying, somewhere where Christian women who are going to be much closer to your values than the girls on dating apps or on social media are going to be, right? So that's lesson number one. So the servant goes, and when he gets to the town, he sits down by the well and he sets up this test, and it's a test of character. He says, Lord, when all the women come out, I'm going to ask one of them if they'll give me a drink. And the one to whom I say, give me a drink, and she responds with, sure, and I'll water all of your camels, let that be the girl that you want to have for my son, Isaac, or for my master's son, Isaac. So that's what happens. The servant does that. The women come out and he sees Rebecca, who was beautiful of form and appearance. So it was the looks, right? He said, I'm going to start by asking that one because she's the beautiful one, right? Because he wants the best for his son Isaac, or for his master's son Isaac. So he asks Rebecca and he says, would you give me a drink? And Rebecca responds with, yes, and I will water your camels. Then, get this, guys, it says the servant sat down and he waited and watched her to see if she would do what she said she was going to do. This is the lesson, guys. Remember how I said that on those dating apps and social media apps, you cannot discern character? And even if you went on a date with somebody, they could just lie to you. Well, here's a method to make sure that someone can't lie to you. Just watch how they interact with other people before they even know that you're interested. You see, as far as Rebecca knew, this was just a random stranger. She didn't know that there was a boy involved. She didn't know that he was rich beyond her wildest dreams. She didn't know any of this. All she knew was this strange man who I've never seen before asked for a drink, and I'm going to go above and beyond and water his camels too. So the servant sat there and said, okay, and he watched, and Rebecca did it. She finished the job, and then he knew, okay, she has the character that I'm looking for. Now, the next thing that the servant does, this is lesson number 3. The next test is he goes to the woman, he talks to her, she kind of understands a little bit more of why he's here now, but the very next thing they do is go back to her family's house. The very next thing is to go meet her family. And now I know this is a little bit tougher because, if you guys are at Bible college, a girl's family's not going to be there. But for those of you to whom this does apply, if you can befriend a girl's family, learn about her family, talk to her father, talk to her mother, be around them, get to know them, you should do that as soon as possible. If you can do that easily without being weird before dating, great. If you have to be dating first, that's fine, but get to know the family as soon as possible. Here's why. If you want to know how someone really acts toward people who they are not trying to impress, watch how they act toward their family. If you want to know a girl's real character, watch how she treats her brother and sister. If you want to know how a girl is going to respond to authority, watch how she responds to the current authority in her life, her father. Same thing for girls who are looking for a guy. You want to know how a guy really acts? Watch how he treats his little brother, little sister, big brother, big sister. How does he treat his mom? How does he treat his dad? This is a huge sign. It's a really good way to gain some information. And this is the whole point, is that the Bible teaches us a method of doing this to where we can gain so much information about somebody before we ever commit even to a relationship. And the whole point of this, guys, is to keep you from getting your heart broken. The whole point of this is to keep you from having breakup after breakup, wrong selection. Oh, she wasn't right. Oh, she turned out to be a monster. Oh, this, that, or the other. If you follow the Bible's principles, you gain so much information before you even have to commit to those things. There's one more really important thing that I think we should talk about before we end this video, and that's this notion of the one, okay? A lot of guys seem to think that there's only one person out there that they are intended to marry, and they just have to find her. Now, in one sense, that's true because God knows who you're going to end up with. But just because God knows what you're going to pick at the McDonald's drive-thru doesn't mean that all of the other things are like poison to you. No, you still have free will, right? Because God's perspective and your perspective are different. You don't have an eternal perspective. So from your point of view, there isn't a one. There are simply girls who are better or worse. And so if you guys follow this biblical formula, and you first figure out what is the kind of woman that I want to be with. That should be informed by Proverbs 31 and by the rest of the New Testament scriptures where Paul talks about what a godly woman does in a marriage. So you first figure out what is that kind of woman. Then, like the servant in the story of Isaac, you watch. And you even have tests, right? You have a checkbox. I remember when I first met my wife, I essentially had Proverbs 31 it was like a checklist, right? And I knew what Proverbs 31 said, and I would see my wife. We went to church together, and I would see her do something, serve somebody, and I'd be like, oh, she cares for the poor. That's awesome. Okay. She reaches out her hand to the needy. Okay, check that box. And you kind of go through and you realize, wow, this girl is actually. Without even knowing me, without even seeing me, without being in the context of a relationship, she just being a Proverbs 31 woman. That's awesome. So that met all of those criteria, and she happened to be very, very beautiful. And so I was like, great. So that meets both of my requirements. She's a Proverbs 31 girl, and I'm attracted to her. So now I'm going to ask her out. Because I know that there isn't going to be any massive, massive hidden things, because I've observed her and I've seen her do it for months now. I've seen her help people and serve people, love people. I've seen how she treats her mom and dad. And so it saves you guys so much heartache. Don't worry about whether they're the one or not. Are they a Proverbs 31 woman? Number one. And are you attracted to them? Number two. Ask them out. Ask them out, and then you can get into the nitty-gritty, and you still may end up breaking up, but your chances of that happening and you being wildly wrong are so much slimmer than if you tried to do this whole thing on a dating app, okay? Also, guys, don't be afraid that you're gonna miss God's girl. There may be lots of women in your life who are both Proverbs 31 women, and you're attracted to them, okay? So if you miss one, there will be another one. Don't worry about it, but make sure that you're prioritizing the first thing. Keep the first thing first. Character number one, attraction number two. When those two things are combined, that is something that you can then pursue, but only if you are actually ready right now to get married. I hope you guys like this video. Make sure that you're subscribed. Again, drop a comment and a like. We'll see you guys next time. God bless.